Hi, I'm Teresa Potter, retired biochemist, chemistry teacher, athlete, certified aromatherapist, and founder of Heirloom Apothecary. I have dedicated my life to exploring ancient wisdom that is supported by cutting edge science. Welcome to part 2 of my jetlag shift work series that will explore part 3, applying the temperature minimum to jet lag, and part 4, applying the temperature minimum to shift work. If you need a review of how to manipulate your temperature minimum, please watch part 1. It is linked in the description below. Point 3. Let's apply the temperature minimum key to social or time zone jet lag. Let's cover some jet lag basics first. We can usually handle 1 or 2 time zone changes before it noticeably affects our well-being. If you will be traveling 3 or more time zones away, you can begin preparing your body a day or 2 before to ease the time zone changes. For example, if you will be traveling east, you will be waking earlier and going to bed earlier than your current circadian rhythm is accustomed. So 1, 2, or 3 days before your trip, depending on how many time zones you will be advancing, get bright light into your eyes after your temperature minimum by getting up an hour or an hour and a half earlier and expose your eyes to bright light and begin your day as you normally would. If it involves exercise, eating, etc., shift all those activities to earlier. Continue this for a second or third day. On the third day, you definitely can get up a half hour earlier than those previous days because your clock has already begun to shift. If you are traveling 3 to 4 time zones, you will arrive at your destination with your circadian clock basically on track with the new time zone. Just be sure to wake your first morning and have that morning sun in your eyes for at least 10 minutes. Continue your best lifestyle practices and you will be good to go. Even if it is cloudy, you get more light energy through the clouds than you can get through bright building light. Conversely, if you will be traveling west, you will need to be waking later and going to bed later than your current circadian rhythm is accustomed. So 1, 2, or 3 days before your trip, get bright light into your eyes 2 to 4 hours before your temperature minimum. You could set an alarm to do this, or your lights could be scheduled on a timer to come on 2 to 4 hours before your temperature minimum. They should stay on for about 45 minutes. You can keep your eyes closed because light will go through your eyelids, but don't cover your eyes with a blanket or eye mask. Continue this for a second or third day. If you are traveling 3 to 4 time zones, you will arrive at your destination with your circadian clock nearly on track with the new time zone. Just be sure to wake your first morning and have the morning sun in your eyes for at least 10 minutes. Continue your best lifestyle practices and you'll be good to go. Even if it is cloudy, you can get more light in your eyes through the clouds than you can with bright building light. If you are traveling 5 or more time zones away, you can do the same procedures that I just described. The only difference is you need to be careful when you brew light when you arrive. You need to be aware that biologically, your temperature minimum is the same as though you were at home before you left. So when you arrive at your destination the next morning, consider what time your body circadian rhythm is in. If you get light in your eyes the equivalent of 2 to 4 hours before your temperature minimum at home, you will want to go to bed later and get up later, which is fine if you traveled west. But if you traveled east, this would throw your schedule off in the wrong direction. For example, if you live in California and you are traveling to Europe, when you arrive the following morning, if you get light in your eyes before your biological temperature minimum, it will throw you off more towards California time, not European time. You would want to limit your light exposure. Wear dark sunglasses to limit this effect. Because you can arrive at any time of day, this is just a general principle to follow. Assess what is your biological temperature minimum and allow bright light only after your biological temperature minimum. After the second day, you can enjoy the European sunrise and join life as a European. If you are traveling west, you would follow the same principles, considering when your biological temperature minimum will be. You will need to shift your body to a later waking and sleeping time, so when you arrive, if it is light before your biological temperature minimum, you can have all the light you want. But if it is after your biological temperature minimum, you need to limit the light as much as possible and wear dark sunglasses. In addition to light exposure, exercise during appropriate times using the principles discussed in the exercise video will help shift your circadian rhythm. It is also important to shift eating to the local meal times as soon as you can eat. In addition to exercise and light exposure, these practices will help you shift your circadian clock to the new time zone. Here's some tips. If you will only be away from your local time zone for 2 to 3 days, including travel, it is best to remain on your local time schedule as much as possible and schedule meetings or activities around your home time zone as much as possible. When returning home, you can ease the transition by practicing the procedures for traveling in the opposite direction. If you or a loved one has social jet lag by working, gaming, or scrolling late into the night and want to shift back to your natural circadian rhythm, you can follow the same procedures for time zone jet lag. You can apply the temperature minimum key to the unpredictable world of shift work in the same way that we did for jet lag, because, let's face it, traditional sleep schedules don't apply to everyone. Point 4. Essential shift workers are frequently victims of accelerated biological aging and increased rates of metabolic disease, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Attention to sleep hygiene arriving around their temperature minimum is crucial. Research continues to reveal that optimally, one should stay on the same shift for at least 2 weeks at a time. Changing every few days is detrimental to both brain and body. If this applies to you, try to work with your supervisor to align schedules to current scientific data. If you can't, follow the following principles as best you can and prioritize your well-being. Some additional principles to guard your well-being include: eat 3 regular meals spaced over the course of the day or night. They are cues for your body clock. Have a hot meal while on the job. Do not eat your largest meal of the day within 3 hours of bedtime. No alcohol. Limit snacks and fast food. Eat a balanced diet to prevent stomach problems, which are most common in shift workers. Maintain the same sleep-wake schedule on days off that you have during work days. Or if your schedule changes every day, use those days off to transition your temperature minimum as best you can. Make your sleeping quarters dark, use earplugs if you can, and unless you're on call, put your phone on airplane mode. When you wake up, look at the light according to your biological temperature minimum, not what is happening environmentally. Exercise and eat according to your temperature minimum. While you're on shift work, if caffeine is used, take it at the beginning of your shift. If you need more, moderate amounts of caffeine in 2-hour increments is better than large, heavy doses. For some shift workers, the coffee nap can be effective. This strategy involves drinking a cup of coffee and then taking a nap that lasts 15 to 20 minutes. Your wake up time will coincide with the caffeine in the coffee taking effect. Very importantly, stop consuming caffeine 10 hours before your bedtime, whatever that may be. During your breaks, exercise or walk vigorously for an energy boost. Before going to bed, take a hot shower or bath. Meditate or do NSDR, non sleep deep rest meditations to relax. I have links for the meditation and NSDR in the description below. Do not take alcohol or a sedative because it does not put you to sleep any earlier. It only fragments your sleep. See the first video for more details. Shift workers with continually rotating schedules should prepare for shift changes by adjusting their sleep times. Let's say you are currently working a day shift and planning to rotate to a night shift. You should gradually delay your bedtime by 1 or 2 hours each night for a few days prior to starting the night shift, if possible. This will help you get enough sleep and avoid sudden changes. Some rotating shifts are better for sleep than others. For example, rotating from day to afternoon to night shifts is a more natural progression that is easier on your body compared to rotating in the opposite direction or in random patterns. Let us consider rotating to a new shift that is at least 14 days long. For example, let's say you will be switching to a later shift. On the last few days of the current shift, delay the times you go to bed and wake up by 1 to 2 hours each day. Then, when you begin the night shift, your body will already be getting ready for the new schedule. Whether you are a 9 to 5er, night owl shift worker, or preparing for a trip to a distant time zone, I have developed a simple circadian rhythm schedule calculator that will help you easily incorporate all the principles we have covered today. A link to download a free copy is in the description below. One last tip. If you are making changes to your circadian rhythm timing, whether it is changing shifts or time zones, or just trying to stay on track, you may find that you need something more. I recommend one or both of the essential oil synergies that I developed over 6 years ago to help with my sleep and anxiety issues. They are Sleepy Time for regular sleep issues and No Panic, All Chill if you have anxiety-related issues that affect your sleep. You can find the link for each essential oil in the description below. Each oil is applied in the same points: under the nostrils, on both temples, between your eyebrows, also known as your third eye, and on your spine, just below your hairline, in about a 1-inch strip. So there you have it. You truly can be master of your well-being by following the lifestyle best practices that I have presented in this 5-video sleep series. All practices are scientifically supported by world-renowned scientists. Many of the studies can be accessed on the National Institute of Health website. Sleep is the #1 foundational principle that will affect our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Join me next week to explore the second most important principle to master your well-being. Until then, continue the best practices that you incorporated this past month. Review previous videos to more deeply understand the areas that you want to master. Remember, all the practices are additive. They don't replace each other. As you incorporate additional practices, you further hone your health and more fully master your well-being. Until next time, sending you my love through my content. Please give me a love tap on the subscribe and thumbs up buttons, and leave a comment with topics that you would like me to cover in future videos. I would also love to hear from you about the practices that you have incorporated so far and your experience with them. If you download the free Circadian Rhythm Schedule Calculator, please write in the comments, "free download." I would also love to hear your experiences with it. I promise I read every comment and will respond to you. Until next time, choose to be enlightened with your sleep. Bye-bye.